Recently, the Indian Space Research Organization has delivered some of the most celebrated achievements in the nation's history. Millions watched the lunar surface landing, placing the agency at the absolute peak of public admiration and national pride. But away from the launch pads and the press conferences, a silent crisis is unfolding inside the agency's own corridors. In recent months, over 100 experienced scientific and technical officers have quietly resigned on the organization. This exodus is happening right as the country prepares for Gaganyaan, India's highly anticipated first human spaceflight mission. Sending humans into orbit requires absolute precision and decades of specialized knowledge. Losing veteran talent at this exact moment threatens the entire timeline of a project where there is zero margin for error. The government noticed this sudden outflow of personnel and intervened, rewriting the agency's internal rules for leaving the job. Previously, the exit process was entirely decentralized. If a scientist wanted to leave, their local center director had the authority to review and accept the resignation on the spot. That process is now centralized. Resignations from Group A scientists bypass local management entirely, routing directly to the Department of Space. By elevating this approval process, the government acts as a gatekeeper, carefully controlling the exit of experts to prevent critical teams from collapsing. Building a higher bureaucratic wall certainly makes it more difficult to walk out the door, but keeping people trapped in a long approval process does absolutely nothing to address the reasons they want to leave in the first place. If these highly trained engineers are willing to abandon the prestige of national service, we have to look at what exactly is pulling them away. The answer is India's explosive new ecosystem of private aerospace startups and space tech companies. These emerging companies offer a completely different reality. They provide highly competitive salaries, modern research facilities, and the capital to immediately test new ideas. They also promise rapid career advancement, bypassing the slow, rigid seniority ladders and endless paperwork typical of government employment. Back at ISRO, the internal numbers show a stark contrast. Despite having thousands of approved positions on paper, a massive number of technical roles remain completely vacant. This creates a punishing cycle. With fewer experts on staff, the daily workload for the remaining scientists increases exponentially, which inevitably grinds the progress of new, ambitious projects to a halt. The private space economy has matured from a complementary industry into ISRO's most formidable competitor for the country's elite engineering talent. This means the recent order to centralize resignations is at best a short-term administrative patch. True, long-term retention requires deep structural changes. The agency has to overhaul its compensation packages to compete with private capital and aggressively modernize its research facilities. It also means dismantling decades-old bureaucratic hierarchies in favor of clear, performance-based promotions that reward ambition rather than just tenure. India has mapped out an aggressive decade ahead, planning lunar missions, continuous solar observation, and sustained human spaceflight. Every single one of those goals relies on the specialized knowledge of veteran scientists. Developing the physical technology to reach orbit is only half the equation. The hardware is useless without the human architects who know how to design, test, and fly it. The ability to keep these scientists in the room directly dictates the future of India's technological sovereignty in space.